Hi, my name is Chine and welcome back to my YouTube channel. On this page, we love talking about all things smelling good and there's so much to talk about. These brands literally do not sleep. As always, everything will be linked in the description and I would really appreciate if you like and subscribe and help your girl out. And if you love to hear me yap, you want more consistent perfume content, definitely follow me on TikTok. We have so much fun there. Starting off really strong with Mango Sticky Rice by Denam. If you haven't seen the newer bottles, they changed their bottles. So they now have this egg shape, but I really appreciate the fact that the bottles can stand on their own, right? It would be really ridiculous if it was an egg that needed a stand. I don't know, that's just me. Anyhow, this is a mango sticky rice perfume. It has notes of mango, coconut, and rice. If you're someone that really enjoyed the original white rice perfume, you like the starchiness of that fragrance, I think you're going to really enjoy this. The rice is done in a very similar way, just that now it has a more tropical feel from the mango. The mango in here is a juicy mango, but it's not a pulpy mango. It's not overwhelmingly mango. So even if you're someone that is kind of skeptical of mango perfumes, but you're curious about this, I still think it is worth getting your nose on. The mango in here is a little bit green, but it isn't as green as like the mango in Mango Skin by Velheim. One thing about me is I'm very skeptical of coconut notes in perfumes. A lot of coconut notes tend to smell very sunscreeny, very solar, and it sticks out like a sore thumb to my nose. But I really like the way the coconut is done here. It doesn't have that solar vibe. It's able to add like a creaminess. Think more of like coconut cream. That is the way the coconut is done here. Imagine like rice dunked in coconut cream. That is the vibe. I really like this fragrance. What I would have to say is that the Danam fragrances are area, they wear on the lighter side. They don't have as much longevity. They don't have as much projection. So this is a fragrance that you have to be willing to reapply because it's not a fragrance that's going to last you the entire workday. But it's perfect for people that still want to smell sweet, still want to smell like a dessert in the summer because it's a kind of gourmand that is airy, doesn't fill up a room, doesn't suffocate you, so you can wear it even on the hottest of hot days. And I think that's one thing about Asian perfumery in general, like Vietnamese brands, Filipino brands, Chinese brands, they are able to do gourmands or sweeter fragrances that still work well in the heat. And I think it's maybe because of like their humidity or like their weather. It's kind of a niche they've made for themselves. And this fragrance is no exception. I should definitely do a video comparing the gourmand fragrances in the Danam line, like Mango Sticky Rice, Strawberry Mochi, Matcha Soft Serve, and a couple of others. I think that would be a great video idea. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and I'll put it together. All in all, I like this fragrance. I'll give it like a 3.5 out of 5, not because it smells bad, but mostly because of the longevity. You guys know that longevity is very important to me. So I like the smell, but I just wish it lasted a lot longer. And I know someone might ask, but this is not a part of any of their already existing collections. So the Danam has 3 different collections, a Vietnam one, a Japan one, and a China one. This is a standalone perfume. It's not a part of any of the discovery set. So if you want to try Mango Sticky Rice, you're going to have to buy an individual sample. But if you're to buy any of the discovery sets from Danam, you actually get a coupon for the value of the discovery set. So discovery set is essentially free, and then you can put that money towards buying a full-size bottle. Now, to a fragrance that a lot of people have been losing their minds over, Power of You, I was able to grab this little tiny, it's so cute, little tiny bottle. Of course, it's a daba, it's not a spray. We're not going to talk about that. This perfume is very interesting. It has notes like passion fruit, frangipani, solar notes, labdanum, and vanilla. This is a very interesting take on a designer fragrance. It's like a darker, moodier designer fragrance, and they did this really, really well outside of the box as far as designer fragrances go. You're gonna smell it and it has that darkness, almost that sultriness about it, but in a very like nighttime, going dancing at night kind of vibe. That is the vibe of this fragrance. Passion fruit is a note that can be very tricky. Passion fruit can smell very sour, very tart, almost like fermented, going on body odor kind of vibes. And if you're someone that is sensitive to perfumes that tend to smell like body odor but not really, I do not think this one will be one for you. The first time I ever tried this fragrance, weeks before everybody started talking about this fragrance, I got this in duty free in London. And I tried it and I thought to myself, I don't know, it's giving body odor a little bit. And I never really revisited the perfume. And then weeks later, I hear everybody talking about it and I'm like, wait, I swear I have a sample of this somewhere. And while I can appreciate the scent and I think it smells good, there is still a part of me at the back of my mind that still has that slight association to like a body odor, kind of like sour fermented smell. And I think that's just me and passion fruit. I'm kind of picky with passion fruit. So if you're the same way, don't rush out and buy this. Don't blind buy this. Go to an Ulta or a Sephora and try it in person before you come into a full-size bottle. I know it's tempting. I know everybody's raving about it. But if you know yourself and what I just described seems like something that happened to you, Save yourself the stress. And it's okay if you don't like it. It's okay if you do not like it. You don't have to like it because everybody likes it. It's dark and sultry and it's different. Definitely in Sephora, it's a different kind of fragrance. But I think it's a great release and it's making me very interested in what the designer brands are going to do in 2026. If this is one of the first major releases, then if this one, I feel like 2025 was a very lackluster year in perfume releases across the board, designer and niche. But Imperial Armani is starting off with a bang. Okay, this is the level that everybody else should aspire to. So this one is a little bit tart, a little bit punchy. It has like that tropical punch kind of vibe from the passion fruit and a very, very creamy vanilla. I know that there's a solar note listed, but it doesn't give sunscreen. It doesn't give being on the beach. As I said, it gives like nighttime dancing, but in like a tropical way. Sunset in Tamarindo by word of Chris Collins. Mark my words. This is going to be one of the best releases at Sephora in 2026. I am very comfortable saying that. And as a mango lover, I was starting to get a bit tired of the mango perfumes. Everything that could be done had been done and people were starting to reheat their own nachos. But this one is a very interesting take. Papaya is not a note you see often in perfumery. And so combined with the mango, it is divine. This is a fragrance you smell and you feel alive. You feel invigorated. You just feel alive. Alive is the word. This fragrance smells like you have a frozen blended drink in your hand. Your feet is in the sand. It's golden hour and you're just having the best time on vacation. That is the vibe of this fragrance. So this has notes of mango, papaya, frangipani, vanilla, and sandalwood. And let me tell you, this fragrance is so smooth. It's like breeze caressing you. It's such a smooth composition. It's fruity without being overly juicy and pulpy. The frangipani is able to add a little bit of like that sunset, golden hour, solar vibe to the fragrance without making it smell like sunscreen in any way. And then the sandalwood adds this creamy, almost like sensual vibe to the fragrance. The sandalwood in here isn't a very dry sandalwood that can smell like body odor on some people. This is more so a creamy sandalwood. Like, smelling this fragrance, it's so interesting because for a fragrance that is fruity and doesn't have a lot of dark grounding notes in the base, this fragrance actually lasts a long time. I had it on my skin and for 6 hours I could smell the perfume no problem. Now, is it a beast mode perfume? They smell you across the world? No. Projects for like the first like maybe 2 hours and then it becomes moderate, like a decent Sephora kind of perfume, but it smells really, really good. I really like it. Chris Collins has a little tropical collection in their entire portfolio. This is my favorite one in the tropical collection and I think it's going to be a bestseller for the brand. Next one is Ripe by Henny Rose. So this fragrance is guava and watermelon sorbet. Tell me that doesn't smell delightful. Did I say guava? I meant lychee. I'm so sorry. I meant lychee. It's lychee and watermelon sorbet. The lychee in here is bright. It's juicy. It's like you're biting into the lychee fruit and it's such a vibe. And then the watermelon sorbet here, you know how sorbet is a little bit chunky? It's not like very smooth like ice cream. You're able to get the chunkiness in the watermelon sorbet smell. And one thing I like about this fragrance is that the watermelon stays for the wear of the fragrance. A lot of fragrances that have a watermelon note, the watermelon dissipates really quickly, but this one is there, it's present, and the lychee plays very well with the watermelon. Lychee is one of those notes that has a very commanding presence. If you throw lychee into a perfume, it can very easily overwhelm everything else and just become like a lychee bomb. This fragrance, while it has a prominent lychee note, it's not a lychee bomb. The watermelon, you're able to get like the sugary musk that comes as it dries down later on. The opening of this fragrance might remind you of Keali sparkling lychee because the lychee is done similarly, but that is where the similarities end. This fragrance now takes a completely different direction. You start to get more of the florals like the rose water and the peony. Those are floral notes that have a very airy, almost like dewy, aquatic, dewdrops on their petal kind of vibe, and you get that in this fragrance. There's also something about it that makes you feel like you should be beside the ocean without smelling very oceanic or like salty or like you're on the beach. This fragrance smells like you're on a boat as opposed to you are by the beach. You know what I mean? When you hear a fragrance is juicy and it's playful, you might think it smells juvenile. There's nothing juvenile about this fragrance. It doesn't smell childish. It doesn't smell like a middle school locker room. Is it fun and fruity floral? Absolutely. Is anybody gonna smell this on you and think you smell expensive and luxurious? Maybe not. But there's more to life than smelling serious all the time. Sometimes just smell fun. You can see the dent in this fragrance. I wear this to the gym pretty regularly. This has been my grab and go gym fragrance. And interestingly, this fragrance lasts a lot longer on your clothes than on your skin. So the thing with Henry Rose is that Henry Rose is a clean brand. They're very like ingredient conscious. And for brands that are like that, it's difficult to ask them for a perfume that's gonna last you 6 hours. So this perfume is not gonna be beast mode. It's not gonna fill up the room. So yeah, I would recommend this. I haven't tried every single fragrance from Henry Rose, but I have tried a couple of theirs. London 1983, Dave. This is completely different from those. Dave is a vanilla fragrance I really like. This does not smell anything like Dave. Dave is warmer, like hotel lobby, and a bit more sophisticated. London 1983 also has that like sophisticated, grungy kind of musk. This is not sophisticated. This is very playful, very girly pop, and I like it. I'm a big fan. Next up, we have Creed Wild Vetiver. Vetiver is a note that a lot of people stay away from because it gives very grassy, very dusty, very earthy. But Creed took that note and gave it like a fresh, spicy, almost like sparkling, expensive feeling. When you smell this, you're not going to think it smells dusty. You're not going to think that it smells like grass. This has notes of bergamot, pink pepper, rose, blackcurrant, geranium, vetiver, amberwood, and cedarwood. Geranium is a note that's kind of tricky for me. I know it always gets paired with rose fragrances, and I tend to not like the rose fragrances that have a very strong geranium presence, but I am able to tolerate the geranium in here. As I said earlier, the whole grassy vetiver, you don't get it as much in here. This fragrance is in the same realm as fragrances like Vibrato, fragrances like Bitter Splash by Dries Van Noten, fragrances like Dom Rosa by Liquid Imaginaire. Now, this doesn't smell like any of them, but it could smell like a combination of them. It has that dark sparkling rose that Dom Rosa has, and also that tart citrus vibe from the pomelo in Dom Rosa, but instead here there's no pomelo. And when you think of Dom Rosa, that tart citrus vibe is also the kind of thing you get in Vibrato by Sospiro and also Bitter Splash by Dries Van Noten. So while this fragrance doesn't smell like any of those fragrances individually, if you can imagine them all mixed together, like the essences of those fragrances, that would kind of be the vibe of this. In the dry down, the vetiver comes out a bit more, but it's still not overwhelmingly earthy and woody the way you would expect vetiver to smell. Something that's also interesting about this fragrance is the addition of the blackcurrant. Given the bottle, like the green bottle, you're not going to think that this would smell sweet, but the blackcurrant combined with the rose adds a sweetness to this fragrance. This smells very elevated, very sophisticated, but I don't know, I wouldn't pay $500 for this perfume. It smells good, it just doesn't smell like $500 good. And if you're someone that is a true vetiver lover, the name Wild Vetiver is definitely misleading because you're going to smell this and think this is all rose and citrus with a little bit of fresh spices. So yeah. Another thing I have to note is that Creed perfumes, in my opinion, kind of struggle with their longevity. This has pretty good longevity. I mean, it's not smell you across the room, but I don't think Creed is trying to be known as a smell you across the room brand. But this lasts 8 hours on my skin, so at least it doesn't disappear after 4 hours. That is a wrap, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to today's video, and let me know in the comments, what do you think the it note of 2026 is going to be? 2025 was marshmallow, it was vanilla. 2026 is looking like peach, but I'm really curious which other notes you think will have their time in the spotlight in 2026. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next one. See you next time.